with the same group each week, which is great. Got one call, so awesome. One's better than zero, that's for sure. Anything Milana specific on the campaigns? How are the new email angles? Are opens or reply rates or anything like that improving?
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I just unmuted you. Yep.
Okay. Everything's good. Yesterday I had a problem with one sequence. It looked like it wasn't active, and I think Dan helped me or something on someone, or and told me that you are doing something, some improvement or something like that, and some things are changed. So they will let me know when everything is finished. So right now I am on the custom enrollment system. So I cannot be on all. I can be just on custom to see that sequence, but they will let me know when they are finished. So that would be it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not in the loop too much on. Once in a while I get looped in on some of the support stuff, but I know we had a couple things I think that were in the works getting worked on. So we're getting ready to push some of the sequence updates here this week. So I don't know if something happened there and maybe goofed in your sequence. Or
I get a new feature. It shows me whether sequence is active and why it's not active. For example, you were talking about that in the previous couple of weeks. So I think
that's
maybe
because
of that.
I'm hoping it gets pushed tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow or Friday, more than likely it'll get pushed. We're just finishing up a couple things on there. So in any contact in a sequence that has an issue, we're actually going to have a separate tab for that. So all of them will go into one tab.
That's awesome.
And then you'll be able to see right there on the screen. There'll be some enhancements we'll need to make to it, but it'll be super helpful. Just you know, in general of kind of knowing what in the heck's going on. So maybe I'll give you a little preview if possible on the our beta server. And in this account, for instance, I do a lot of lead nurturing with this account, so I end up with more sequences that are with contacts that are like kind of held up and stuff, and not held up for like necessarily any like bad reasons, just more like, you know, we're nurturing, so there might be a delay or something like that on purpose. So we'll see how it. So you'll see this like status, you know, sequence is operational. This would like turn to red in certain instances if it's not the specific days of the week, or if it's not within your defined time period. And then on the enrollment page, you might see, or actually it's on the here we go. So we got this issues, and we're going to make some of these fonts actually smaller. And looks like they need to add a couple things. So
I get the chance to see already issue subject when it comes to one prospect. He didn't, the sequence didn't want to run, and I just went in, and on the right side it showed me that the email wasn't there. So I already seen something, and my sequence that I'm talking about on the beginning is red on the right upside status red because I didn't have.
Yeah, there'll be an icon that'll show up here with the reason why it's not running.
I already seen that.
There should be icons here. I'm not sure why they're not. I haven't talked to the team or whatever, but so I think they're just putting the final touches on. Before we were going to put everything in these two tabs, but then we decided to add this, just an extra tab dedicated to the issues. So I think they're finalizing some of that stuff, but nonetheless, it'll be We get a lot of support inquiries over that, and that's going to help reduce support inquiries. And the other thing that we're going to be pushing is if you manually enroll contacts, they'll actually start the sequence faster. So right now it runs every hour. So if you have a sequence created and you manually enroll somebody into this sequence, right now it can take up to an hour, and then people get confused like, hey, why isn't it running? It'll actually happen within 2 minutes now. So some updates there.
That's awesome also, because I have already noticed that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So on our beta server, I was just testing it today. So yeah, it any manual enrollment from the contact detail page or even the enrollment page, even if you change like a smart list, that would get updated, or if you do a manual enroll there. So yeah, some fun stuff. Fun stuff. So looking forward to it. Hey, Daniel. Just 1 second here. Milana, did you have anything on from in terms of outreach?
No, thank you.
Awesome. I will Daniel, if I just allowed you to talk, so if you want to unmute, yeah.
All right. Patrick, thanks for taking the time to answer questions. I don't even know, like, you might want to turn me away here. I got some pretty basic question, like just 101 stuff. Is it all right to do like really super basic?
Sky's the limit. So whether it's super basic stuff, or you want help writing a cold email template or lead nurturing strategy, like we'll cover it all on this call. So
all right, awesome. So the first thing I was wondering was what does enroll mean? Like what does that? Yeah,
a great question. So enrollment basically means a contact entering a sequence.
Okay.
Yep. So
contact entering a sequence.
Yeah. So enrolled, for instance, like under my sequences here, you can see I've only got 3 in this one. 185 people enrolled into this one. 230 enrolled, into this.
Gotcha.
So basically that's total contacts that have entered into that sequence. And
okay.
There's a number of ways you can get contacts enrolled into a sequence. It can either happen automatically or you can manually do it, just depending on how you want it. So
gotcha. And as far as like when we upload a list of contacts, is that enrolling a list or contact? Is that enrolling contacts manually if we're uploading a list of people?
You can have it both ways, really. So when you upload a list, if you're adding those contacts to a static list, let me just kind of walk you through a couple different things here. So let's just pretend this is a sequence. Let's call it number 1. Maybe you got an email, and whatever it is that you want to do with the sequence. I'll just pick this quick.
We have a list. We have lists of contacts, basically CSVs.
So the only way they'll get automatically enrolled into a sequence when you import directly is if there's some sort of if you have auto enroll smart list set here. So if you're uploading your list and it's a static list, you would need to have that list associated to this this auto enrollment, and those contacts would then automatically get enrolled. So there's a number, like if you're not using this feature, this auto enroll feature, you would need to like go and manually enroll those people. Now you can do it in bulk. You can do it several different ways where it's like you don't have to do it one by one. But yeah, you can come manually enroll people if you really want. There's a bunch of different ways you can enroll. When you upload a list, we automatically apply a tag to the inside the system. So every import has its own unique tag.
Interesting.
So for instance, like, I don't know when I uploaded this, but I must have uploaded 48 people on this import. And so, I could come in here and bulk enroll. You can also do this from the contacts page.
Okay.
So there's lots of different ways, but I use auto enrollment most of the
Mhm.
time. So it just really depends on your preference, really. And are you
Okay.
doing mostly cold outreach, or are you doing lead nurturing?
Yeah. And maybe I'm really getting ahead of myself here, because the way that I'm thinking about using Uptics is just super simple. Like, upload a list of contacts with some custom columns. So for us, we have 2 custom columns that we would like to reference to in the outbound emails.
Yep.
Those are number of Google reviews and their rating on their Google reviews, like 4.7 stars,
Yep.
128 reviews. And then using your other, I can't remember the term that you have, but you know how you can customize the email templates with the, first name,
Yep.
company name, etc. So
Yep.
those are the other 2 areas that we want to customize. So just to come back to kind of square one, maybe I am getting ahead of myself with enrollment, etc., because essentially we're just looking to upload a list, a nice clean list
Yep.
of contacts, and then trigger a single email just to start with, just to get a
Yeah.
response. So if I could learn how to do that, I'd be super, super happy.
Let me walk you through it. So I'm going to hop over into this other account. This is my lead nurturing account. And for some reason, it's the oldest account in Uptics. And so it runs a little slower on these video shares. So I'll just pop over. So I use this account for more like kind of cold outreach and stuff. So what you'll do to get contacts into the system, you can import them in several places, but just come to the contacts page here.
Yeah.
People, import. You'll select if your file has a header.
It does.
So yeah, for instance, it'd be, first name, last name, stuff like that. If that's the case, you just click yes.
Yeah.
Select your file. Just say, so I got my lead database, and then you pick what kind of contacts, and now you'll be presented with mapping,
Right.
the columns to a field in Uptics.
Yeah.
You probably won't use this one necessarily. If you're enriching contacts or something like that, you can update existing contact information
Nice.
with that list.
Yeah. That's cool.
You can assign the records to a contact owner if you want.
Okay.
If you want to do that, that's beneficial if you have like multiple. If you have a single team member, or you have a single person you're assigning all the contacts to, you can just bulk assign it. Otherwise, there's actually if you have multiple team members, you can actually map multiple contact owners with a property in your actual list. So those are a couple options there, but you'll probably how big are your lead lists when you're going to upload into Uptics? Are you going to upload a big list all at one time, or do you foresee yourself uploading small little batch lists more periodically?
Yeah, I mean, to get started, we're talking at least what I think are pretty small numbers. The lists are probably going to be anywhere in between sort of 25 to 100 people at a time.
Now, are those going to be segmented? Like, are you going to segment them like this industry, that industry, any sort of segmentation at all, or are they going to all go into one campaign?
I think for the sake of just getting started, we're probably gonna segment before we get to Uptics. So the first, we might just target, say, solar panel companies.
Got it.
Solar panel installation companies, type of thing.
Awesome. Here's what you'll want to do then. There's this option to upload to existing list or create a new one. So toggling this will create a static list automatically in Uptics. So, so now once it's uploaded, it'll automatically have one of those smart lists created for you, and you can associate that to a sequence. I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
So if you have an existing static list, so let's just say you make an upload, you upload 50 contacts, and then 3 days later you upload 50 more, but you want them to go into the same list. You can add those contacts to another static list in Uptics.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So if you just leave it, it'll create a brand new static list for you. Or if you wanted to add it to an existing one, if it's existing, then those contacts could automatically get enrolled into that existing sequence. So I'll kind of help you visualize this. So Let's just pretend we're going to create a new one. And now you go and map your fields. So make sure just you got the right field. We're auto detecting certain fields. So just
Yeah.
got to click confirm. Actually for this, I'd actually skip and then company name for emails. If you want to create a custom field, you can do that right here. So
okay, yeah, how does that work?
yeah, so let's just say this is a new field that you just click it. We're going to take the name of the field automatically, and you can just make sure to pick your field type and you hit save. It's like pretty
easy.
Yeah, easy peasy. So like don't go in and try to set up all your custom fields. Like you can create custom fields and settings, but if you're importing your lists and creating custom fields for the first time, you can do it right in the import process.
All right.
So super simple. And then once you're done, of course, then you hit import, and then we'll start processing the list.
All right.
The only thing you got to make sure of is that all of them are either accepted or skipped like that. So everything basically will be collapsed.
Got you. Okay. That's a good way to like check things off and verify that it's been done.
Yep. So we've tried to make it as, I don't want to call it dummy proof, but we've tried to make it as easy as humanly possible for people to kind of know. Depending on how big your list is, we are making an enhancement to our importing process where lists under 1,000 records will import within about 5 to 10 minutes instead of like right now it takes like an hour. Being a younger company, we've really spent a lot of time on importing, and that was a bottleneck for us. So now we're kind of making enhancements to that. So let's just say now you've imported it, and let's just say you created a static list, right? And that static list will initially be named the import tag, right? So let's just say this is your import, or maybe I should find one with, I don't know if I have one with contact records, but you can rename the list. So once it's imported, basically you're going to click on it and it'll show up like this. You can rename it at some point, or I can't remember exactly. You could select your import tag, or there should be a save option. I think I already saved this one, so maybe there's maybe I'm getting lost myself, but I just deleted all my contacts out of this account. So
all right.
Oh, it's a static list, so I don't have any filters. That's right. Okay, so you would click the settings here. If you want to edit the name, and you just click edit here, and then you can change the name. So you would go to that import if you wanted to rename it, and you could call it, whatever list type it is, and you hit save.
All right. Okay, cool. I think I get the list importing, etc.
Yep.
Next step, I guess, if it's cool to ask, like, how do we go from having uploaded a list to triggering one outbound email?
Awesome. So the next step, of course, is on the outbound tab here. I pretty much do everything from the home tab now. I've got like my favorite folders and stuff like that. So I would create a folder, just say, call it your cold outreach or something, or you could segment it like, I segment it for like tech and software, insurance, regular founders, stuff like that. When you open that up, you're going to see basically all the different templates you can create. So you just want, and you can expand these. So like I have multiple email templates underneath there, but you'll have 0 to start. Just click add new, and start creating your email template. You can you can do your merge tags right here. So you're going to have those couple of custom properties you said for Google reviews.
Do they show up? Like once you've uploaded the contact list that has those columns, and we've mapped the columns to the correct, that before where you were showing me how to match. Will they then, once they're matched and the list is uploaded, will the tags show up here?
Yep.
Beautiful.
So then you can type in whatever you named the file. I'll call it Google reviews or whatever. So that'll show up here, and then
Awesome.
you can reference that right in a template.
Beautiful. All right.
Then your
I'm getting
subject,
excited, man. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
template name, all that. You can send yourself a test.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to be releasing a update to this too, where you can send a test as a contact. But you just-
Yeah, that's really valuable, actually. Yeah.
yeah. So you hit create. That'll
Okay.
create, a template.
Yeah.
Of course, it'll save it, and then you can go right into a sequence. Actually, you could start with a sequence as well. You could build a sequence from scratch. Call
Mhm.
it, your new cold email sequence, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You hit add.
Yeah.
You pick your template,
Right.
and if you haven't created the template yet, you can actually create it right here too.
Oh, handy.
So you can create a template right inside of here if you
Yeah.
really want to, but nonetheless, you just pick the template or you create it, either or.
Yeah.
And if it's just going to be a super simple campaign initially, you're going to have one email just to get something launched. You can always come back and add emails later. Just make sure you update your delays. So if you have a email template in here and you launch a campaign, send it to 20, 50 people, whatever, and you come
Mhm.
back later and you edit it, just make sure that you say, okay, 3 days later, or 1 day, 2 days, whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
Gotcha.
so then, people aren't getting bombarded with.
You got to put a delay on it for sure. Well, that actually leads me to another question, if I may.
Yep.
So let's say, the first email goes out. Is there a way to, like, if somebody replies at that point, we're hands-on manually, and that's cool. We totally want to do that because our whole campaign is designed around that premise of having a high touch, personalized response. Totally cool. So the goal is really just to get that response in the affirmative.
Perfect.
But I guess the question is, if we send out the first email, which you have in step 2 here, how do we set it up so that there is the, hey, it's 3 days, we're going to send a follow-up, and then 4 days after that, we're going to send the final email.
Yeah. So in that case, of course, you'd come and pick your email template number 2 or whatever. Let's say it's 2 days. You got email template, number 3, so on and so forth, right? So that's all set up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is step 3 2 days after the previous one, or 2 days? Sorry, actually, I'll use step 4 as an example. Is it if, say, you change step 4 to a delay of 4 days, is it 4 days after the previous email, or 4 days from the beginning?
So the delay is after the step. So for instance, this email gets sent out, right?
Yeah.
It's going to delay for 3 days here, and then it'll send step number 3.
2 days after.
3 days. So the delays are in between the sends. So think of it like this: delay. Let's just say it's 0. First email is going to go out, and then after 3 days, it's going to send this one.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So the delay is after this step.
Okay. Yeah. 3 days after step 3 goes out, 2 days after step 3 goes out, step 4 goes out.
Correct. Yeah. And then the last one, like if you have no more steps, there's not really a point to even having anything if you don't want to. So that one's almost kind of useless.
Yeah, no worries. And so if they do respond, say, to step 2, which is email number 1, do we just manually unenroll them from the sequence? I'm not sure if that's the right terminology.
Nope. You just want to on the sending options. So once you're done kind of building this, you just hit next.
Yeah.
And under the sending options, you're going to pick what days of the week you want it to run. What time of day, which user it's coming from. You can hard code a user, or you can select contact owner. In this case, let's just say it's coming from you. You can set your enrollment limits, how many people can start the sequence every single day, and then how many total emails per day can you send. So let's just say you want 10 people every day to get enrolled, and you've got 3 emails. I normally set this at 30. So then the system will send all 30 queued up emails for that day. So Just multiply your total daily enrollment by the number of email templates and that, and you'll be good.
Okay.
And this is the setting you want to set. So stop sending if the contact replies to the sequence. Or you can say if the contact replies to any email or any SMS and Uptics at all, more times than not, you're gonna keep this one selected.
Okay.
For my lead nurturing, so like I do a lot of like automated lead nurturing, like trial users, all that kind of stuff that come in and get nurtured with Uptics. I select the do not unenroll.
Okay.
There's that. And then you've got, if you want the emails to be threaded, so it would take just the first subject line of the first email, you would turn this on. If you want to add an unsubscribe link, you would turn this on. If you want to track opens, you would keep that on. If you're doing any sort of links, it's not suggested. If you're not really wanting to track links, you can keep that off. So, but it's totally up to you. Okay. And then this is the delay in between sends. So this is different than the delays between each person getting an email. This is like the total sequence. Like if I've got 100 people getting emails in a day, how much time in between each email to different people will pass. So basically we'll pick a random time. This helps with email deliverability and the email algorithms and stuff. So
for sure,
this is like how fast we're firing off emails.
Okay, roger that. For
the sequence. So for you, like, since you're going to be doing smaller lists, like I wouldn't be afraid to sort of crank this up a little bit. So if you're only sending, 20 emails a day or something like that, and you've got an 8-hour window, well, you can sort of afford to have a longer delay in between each email. And that'll help. So it'll help kind of sort of mimic human behavior and whatnot for the email.
Totally makes it feel a bit more organic and less robot.
Yep.
Nice.
And then the next step will be now to get those contacts. If you're not manually like going on into the contact page, you could always pull up a list on the contacts and you can manually enroll from there. Or let's just say it's a sequence that you're planning on adding more people into that static list.
It is like, once every couple of days, we're going to be adding like, another 25 people.
Yep. In that case, then you're click on that automatic and dynamic, and then just find that static list that we created on the, on our import and on the contacts page. And once you have that list here, all you'll ever need to do then is upload to that static list. And those contacts will automatically come into this sequence.
Oh, super cool. Okay.
So you won't need to go and like manually enroll people or anything like that. So now that
trigger the sequence or anything, we don't have to manually trigger the sequence again. As long as we're just adding people to that list, the sequence will say, hey, there's new contacts here. I'm just going to keep going until I run out.
Correct. Yep.
Lovely.
Yep. So you just need to add them to that list, and they'll automatically, it's still going to follow. Like if you've got 1,000 people enrolled and only 50 people have started, it'll keep following the rules, but you won't have to do anything else. It'll just get queued up for the next, we'll pick another 10 people, the next day, and another 10 people the next day. So you'll likely have more people enrolled or waiting than, you'll have enrolled at, initially when you start. So, but then it'll just, when the next contact's up, then it'll start from there.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much the last step. So I don't have any contacts enrolled, but I'll just show you one last, let me do this quick. I need to click save, but I'll just find myself. If you did want to manually enroll people, you can always come in here and search for somebody. So this is myself. I'll just show you on this screen. You can preview your emails if you want. So this is on the initial creation. So like as you add contacts, it won't be as valuable. But like if you've initially created the sequence and enrolled maybe 20 people or 50 people or something like that, you'd be able to toggle between the records and see how the email looks.
Okay.
And then you could do the same thing with email number 3. You just click the arrow here and you can see a preview. Click, you can edit the contact record if you need to. And then you can launch your sequence.
Super cool.
Yep.
All right. My other question, if I could, is regarding the snippets to emulate or create spin tags.
Yeah.
How is that? How do we do that?
Yeah. So good question. So I'll show you one. Like I'm targeting like the insurance, starting to target the insurance agency world for Uptics. And so I have emails created.
Yeah.
So I'll show you kind of the end result. So basically what happens once I'm done creating a spin tax, I come into an email template and I reference, for some reason we call them sections, but
sure,
just like adding a tag, you just come down here and you select a snippet group, and I'll explain that in a second. But like I organize mine for like insurance. So like insurance, I always organize it in the flow of my email. So like number 1 is greeting. Number 2, I introduce the problem. Number 3 is agitate. Number 4 is solution. Number 5 is call to action. So in each one of these snippet groups, I have multiple variations of each of these lines. Okay. So when this email gets sent, Uptics will randomize each one of those lines. Now to do that, what you want to create is our snippet groups.
Okay.
And what a snippet group is basically is just different variations of the same line. So my greeting for insurance companies, I'm going to have, hope you're having a great day of the week. This is just starting the email out, right? Hope you're having a wonderful day of the week. Hope you're having a fantastic day of the week.
Cool.
Hope your day of the week is going great. Hope your day of the week is wonderful, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
that's really cool.
And then snippet group number 2, I'm gonna introduce the problem. All right. So, was curious from a sales perspective, how you're managing your book of business, renewal process, cross sales, so on and so forth. And then my next variation of that is going to be slightly different, right? So on and so forth. So as you create these, you can hit clone too. So if you're making minor adjustments, just to maybe swap out a few words or something like that, you can just hit the clone button here, copy button, and it'll copy that, and then you can edit. Just change the name of your title. So I always like to follow like a specific framework, so to organize it. So like I'll do like insurance. Number 2 means it's the second line in my email. And then it's I'm introducing the problem, and then underneath the snippets I follow the same framework, and then I just say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, however many you want. You can create as many variations as you want. The more variations, the more versions of basically that email you're going to have. So I've got greeting, cool. I've got problem, agitate, I got solution, and then I've got subject lines. So I normally, when I start A/B testing, the only difference between these email templates here. So I created test A, using subject line variation 1, and then I copied that up here, and then I created the B test, and I swapped out for a different subject line. So I always start with testing subject line for my A/B testing.
Sure. I'm just from a total amateur's perspective, my assumption there is because the first metric you're trying to test is open rate.
Yep.
And that's largely dependent on subject.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What's the next thing you test, by the way?
Be call to actions usually, or different like body content. If you can test if you wanted to do 2 totally separate emails, you absolutely can test that. If you want to be like crazy methodical, you could do basically the same body content, different subject lines. But then from there, you test, you can test it different messaging or different angles. So like test A might be problem focused.
Right.
Test B might be like benefit focused.
Okay. I guess I didn't phrase my question very well. I guess what I was wondering was if the first thing that we who are undertaking these email campaigns are testing is the open rate, which is largely dependent on subject.
Yep.
Is the second metric that we're testing, let's call it generally speaking, broadly speaking would be engagement. But I mean, are you generally testing for a reply to an email? Is that a good goal? Or are you testing for, usually testing for a click? Or...
Yeah, so it depends on, of course, in cold outreach, I'm always testing for a reply.
A reply? Okay.
Yep.
Because that's more valuable, right? That's way more valuable than a click to somewhere.
Yeah, especially like with cold outreach, you're not really wanting to do click tracking usually. Like you want to remove links and all that kind of stuff. But for my like this account's my lead nurturing account. Like I'm not really optimizing for replies. So what I really care to look at the most are if we look at my active sequences, usually I'm putting links in there. So cold email interest. So here I'm interested in my click rate.
Right.
So when I'm doing A/B testing, actually in this instance, I'm mostly A/B testing my subject lines right now anyway, to find like the best performers. So like in this case, I added a B test and I'm getting us,
nice. It's
a
good
lot
jump.
higher, open rate, and I'm getting a lot higher click rate. I just added this one. I just added this one recently. So in this case, I'd come into my steps, and I already did this. So this one wasn't performing as well from an open and a click perspective. So now I started sending 80% of the traffic over to this.
Okay.
And you could get all the way to 0, or I could just remove this one and it'll get archived.
Okay.
Yep. And then you could add a new B test. So, but I think I primarily have I think my emails are pretty much the same. So 228 words, 200. Yeah. So the emails are the same. The only difference really is today I'm confessing.
It's a great confess. Excuse me. Confess is such a evocative word.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's my subject line for this one. No more crying over reply rates. And then today I'm confessing. So, and then some of the other ones like this one, take me off your list, ! Getting higher open rate, and the click rates are pretty much the same.
Cool. I'm on one of these sequences of yours at least, because I get a lot of stuff from you that I always look forward to, man. You're putting out some content that's really valuable to us at this point in time, and it's just like,
What's your last name again?
Vivarelli. Hopefully, I went in there as there you go, deals.
You should come up as under contacts, unless I don't have you. Oh, you're under Daniel V.
Yeah.
So here's all the sequences that you're active in 2 of these right now for me. So and then all these other ones are inactive. So I might have the sequences shut off, but maybe you're part of a list or something like that. But you're active in right now. So,
and that makes now that I see it, like university that I'm tagged like that makes sense, because like I'm at that stage where I'm just trying to be a sponge and learn as much as possible. So I'm glad I ended up on those 2 lists.
Yeah. So hopefully you don't get too over. I think I have most of my sequences, 3-day delays, but think about this too. If you start doing more lead nurturing, so like this is a cold email interest. So like if somebody's downloaded like a cold email lead magnet or something like that, I have, they'll get an autoresponder, and then they'll automatically get enrolled as a next step into the sequence. But once they're done with this, then I automatically enroll them into the university pillar sequence.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
So I take them from once they're done with this one, then I take them from here, and then I take them to the next one.
Yeah, nice.
So right now you're doing cold outreach, so maybe it's not quite as relevant, but as you're getting into more lead nurturing, it's don't underestimate nurturing your leads.
No, for sure. I love that, because one of Dan Kennedy's great adages was he's like the best marketers in the world they will never stop. He's like, it's always about what's next, what's next, what's next. There's always something else that they're going to put in front of you, you know? And
Yep.
it's like, yeah,
that's,
keep it.
you got to keep it going. So I just added a lot of these recently. So, but like this evergreen autoresponder, this is my autoresponder. So when somebody first downloads this, you know, like 49 people in it, you know, see all my stats, whatever. So I just have an initial email that goes out, and then I automatically then enroll into the cold email interests. So that sequence is like, this evergreen autoresponder is about cold emailing. So I know they're interested in cold email. So I'm going to enroll them now into the cold email interest sequence and feed them more content that, you know, they want. Like, I know they're interested in it. So it's interest-based lead nurturing. It takes a while, like, you know, to build all this content for sure. It takes a lot of effort, but, you know, and then once they go into this one and they're done with that cold email interest one, then they go into the Uptics University. And then the next one I have to build out is my Facebook group one. So I haven't built, but they'll go into a Facebook group kind of focused one to try to get people, you know, to join the Facebook group.
And it's kind of like, I mean, I was watching one of your videos, and it's kind of like you were talking about, there was a video editing guy, you know, and you didn't need him at first, but he just stayed in front of you. And like a year later, you're like, I need a video editor. Boom, you know, like that guy at that point, like, got your attention, he got your call or he got your email or whatever. So staying in front of people, I definitely is. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Thanks, Sam. I don't know if you're still on or not. For the looks like you are. Appreciate the kind words there. So
I got it. Should I let Sam have a turn here, because I have taken up a fair bit of time, or is it all right to ask you now? Or
Sam, if you have a question, feel free to submit it in the chat. Otherwise, Daniel and I will just kind of keep going. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want, Daniel. So
all right. My next question for you is, you know, I head up a SaaS company. We help local businesses predominantly with online reputation management, and arguably the most important part of online reputation management, which is online review acquisition. Right. Getting as many 5-star reviews is important for anybody selling anything, whether it's a product on Amazon, a software on G2 Crowd, or a local plumber needing his Google reviews. So the thing that we're really wanting to put in front of people is that we have a really great solution for this, to solve this problem of getting real reviews. We have a little bit of a secret sauce thing, which is we actually plant one tree for every online review that we help our members get. So for example, we have a home inspection company. They've been with us for 5 years. They've gotten 1,500 Google reviews using our software. Wow. And we've planted 1,500 trees just as a byproduct of them using our software, which I think is pretty cool. There's a small forest on planet Earth from this home inspection company just serving their community as best they can, and happen to be using our software.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So, you know, I would love just your kind of knee-jerk reaction of, you know, what would you think is the one of the best approaches we could start testing about putting, how do I phrase this? Getting people to sign up for a 14-day free trial.
Well, here's what I would do, because of like the noble cause and stuff like that. I every single email I set up, if I were you, every single email you send out, I would have something in your subject line. Every review, for every review we get, you know, our customers, we plant a tree or something. Like I would make sure that's in every single email for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, that's, I don't, you could certainly like do like maybe a broader strategy on like, you know, from a marketing perspective to make sure people know that. But in terms of cold outreach, I would like, I mean, you could certainly make it maybe a little bit more of a thing in the email body or something, but yeah, I would at least at a minimum in your signature have something, you know, for every, you know, review, we plant a tree. You know, sign up to save planet Earth or something. You know.
Sure.
Don't say that, you know, but
No, it's not. Look, it's not as ridiculous as you might think, and I won't get into it. But we have actually tested some language around our own sequences because we're trying to persuade our members' clients, if that makes sense, to leave an online review for the plumber, the home inspector, etc.
Yep.
And so when you're using that kind of language, you actually your intuition is pretty solid based on what we've tested and what we found works.
Yeah, for sure. And like just those soft, you know, those soft call to actions and stuff like at the end, like, and you know, it's something you'll eventually, you know, become, you know, known for, and just kind of a cool little thing. But I would, at a minimum, that's what I'd be doing with every single one of your emails for sure.
Okay. All right, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and taking the time to train me up on this stuff. Super excited to start putting this stuff into play and launching our first campaigns.
You bet, man. Let us know if there's anything you ever need, and we're happy to help.
Thank you.
Awesome. Not sure if there's any other questions, feel free to shoot them in the chat. I'll hang out for one more minute. If not, we'll pack it up a little bit early today, and we'll get back to work. Not that this isn't, you know, but let me know if there's anything else you need, and happy to help any way we can. So.
Oh yeah, if I could, are you posting replays of this stuff?
I have been recording them, but I haven't posted them anywhere. I had every intention to like maybe cut up some of the videos and put them in the Facebook group, you know, as little, as you know, little lead magnets, so to speak. I just haven't had the time to do it, to be honest. So I think what I'll probably do at some point, and I actually have a bank, I have a bank of them. So I'll likely, you're in the university, I know, so I'll probably start creating posts.
Okay.
I just, you know, it's a bit of a process. Like I actually have to upload it to like, you know, YouTube or Vimeo or something like that. But I should start doing it because it'll help with marketing.
For sure.
Yeah,
Are you a Loom guy? Do you use Loom at all?
I actually use Vimeo's product.
Okay.
Mostly for like my screen recording. I've used Loom. I've used Vidyard. As well. I've used Hippo. I've pretty much used them all. So
okay. All right. Well, I mean, I know you're a super busy guy, but if at all possible, I'd love a link to this replay just because it's so much valuable training from a beginner's perspective. But awesome. If at all possible. If not, I totally get it.
Actually, I need to start just uploading them to YouTube anyway. So I'll upload them to YouTube and figure out my title framework, you know. Not the Joe Rogan experience, but it'll be like the Uptics sales experience or something like that. And
all right.
And then I'll post them in the university as well, and cool. Probably on the Facebook group and pretty much everywhere. So thanks for the reminder. Right. Sure, I'll kind of build that into my process.
Cheers.
Awesome.
All right, man. Thanks again. And I'm going to bounce. Thanks to you and everybody else. Cheers.
You bet. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Milana. Thanks, Sam, Beck. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys next week if you're on. Have a great week, rest of your week. Thanks. Bye.